everybody. My name is Rita Crompton, host of Invent America Radio. And we had Noah on the radio with us a couple of weeks ago, but we're talking about how valuable it is to have prototypes, get them launched at a trade show so that you can gather the information. So I've got Noah here with me today. Noah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah. So thanks for having me. As always, it's a pleasure to see you and talk to you about this stuff. So I appreciate it. But before we get started, I want to say it is Casual Friday. So I'm wearing a t-shirt, and this is, I'd like to call attention to a organization that's near and dear to my heart. That's Camp Sunshine. It is a camp for pediatric cancer patients and their families. Some people that know me know that my daughter is a pediatric cancer survivor, so we're big fans of this organization. We've participated in it, and that's why I'm wearing the shirt today. So I'll leave it there, but I just wanted to call them out.
That's great. Glad that you could do it, and we can get it out there. So give us the website, why don't you?
Yeah, I think it's just campsunshine.org, and they're here in the Atlanta area, and but they deal with kids from all over the Southeast. So
excellent. Good for you. Good for you. So one of the things that we're doing is getting all of our inventors teed up to go to ASD Market Week. And, you know, I get inventors that are concerned because all they've got are a couple of prototypes. I mean, we've been taking inventors to trade shows, and that's all they've had for, 20 years. But what an inventor can learn with a good proof of concept prototype is amazing. They learn, should they take the next steps? How can they make it better? But, help us explain to the inventors out there why it's a good idea to go and gather the information.
Well, I think one of the things that inventors need to realize is that there's probably more they don't know than what they do know about their product. And that can mean a lot of things. It can be, is the market right? Is, all sorts of stuff that I don't touch. But in the area that I do touch, does it work? Do the physics work? Is it the right size? Is it comfortable? All those sorts of things, those are things we can learn from prototyping. And you don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars right out the gate to make this super fancy prototype just to learn something simple that you don't know. You can start with something that's very inexpensive. Like I brought some examples here. We can just do some basic 3D printing. This is a $50 3D printed part. Even that is not the place you necessarily need to start. You can start with things you make out of wood, Play-Doh. I've seen toothpicks, I've seen duct tape, I've seen a little bit of everything. But these are all things that people have used to learn something they didn't know. I've had a guy that made this thing out of duct tape and wood, and he says, I did this and I realized it was way too big for what I was trying to do. So then I helped him find a way to size it down. And he learned that for like $3 worth of materials rather than going out and spending thousands of dollars on an expensive part.
Yeah, and last year we had some inventors that took, their proof of concept prototypes. So they were, a step up from the duct tape and cardboard, Legos, that kind of thing. But they learned a lot about how to make it better, about price points that they needed to shoot for, what kind of packaging. We had some that were, it's like, I've got 2 prototypes to my name, and there were stores wanting to place orders. Well, that gave them some incentive to go on to the next step.
Right.
And so those prototypes can teach people a lot, but I'll find inventors that say, well, I spent $15,000 on market research. Oh, for goodness sakes, for $3, you can go to a trade show, and the people you're getting the market research from are the people that would be your resellers. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot cheaper to go to a show, talk face to face, than market research, which can be a disaster.
And those are people that know how to sell to the public. They know what the public wants. They know the markets. You go out and do market research, which is great. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But oftentimes that's done very prematurely by inventors. That's something you might want to do when you're dialing in your market. But if you can get that feedback from a buyer or someone that already knows, if you got a product for teenage girls and they already know how to sell to teenage girls, they're going to have insights that you're not going to get inexpensively through market research.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I've learned that from the market research companies is that they've got no skin in the game then. All right. They're going to send you an invoice, whatever it is, and however they got it, whoever they talk to. And if you're at a trade show with your proof of concept prototypes, now you're talking to people who would be your actual resellers. Right. And like you said, they know their consumers, they know their clients. If it's a supplier, they know who they're going to be selling to. They know the price points.
They're not just answering a bunch of questions because they got a $5 Starbucks gift card.
I know, right? Right. They can tell you in 5 minutes what you've paid thousands of dollars to learn from market research companies. So that's one of the things that we have realized is that for the inventor, shaking somebody's hand, putting the prototype out there so they can touch it, feel it, play with it, and then giving you really good direct feedback. And then they come back to you and say, okay, Noah, this is what I learned.
And when they do that, then those learnings we can put back into the design process. And sometimes it is things like, I was designing this, I was developing this for the wrong person. And then this distributor told me, look, this is really a product for this group of people, not this group of people. So then we can go back to the drawing board a little bit. Usually we're not starting all the way over, but we're just making tweaks and adjustments. And that's the difference between a failure and a success. So all that information goes back into design. It doesn't just go into a folder somewhere. It's all very important to get that product just right, to get it on the marketplace, into the marketplace.
So we've got at least 2 of the inventors you've worked with going with us to ASD Market Week this year. What are you? One's a hammer, and one's basically a fancy type of new shovel. But what is it that you do? What is your specialty? If somebody says, "Oh, Noah, what are the things that you like to work on that's in your sweet spot?"
That's a very tough question because I like solving problems. So I enjoy working on a wide variety of things. So you did mention 2 tools. I do like working on tools, but I also work on toys. I work on consumer electronics. I work on semi-medical stuff. It's a wide range of things. So in a given day, prototypes I might be working on range from like something. Well, I didn't make the circuit board. This is a prototype circuit board that goes into another element of a product that I'm working on. So sometimes I might be working on these little consumer electronic things, all the way up to this one's been driving me crazy. This is actually a little engine for RC plane. I'm not making an RC plane. I'm using this engine for something. This is again proof of concept to make sure we can blow air at a certain speed through this big contraption. So it's a lot of things. I like solving problems. Now there are certain things that I'm not a fit for. And people will call me, and sometimes I have to tell people, look, I'm not in this space, but I know somebody. I can send you over here and I can send you over there. I think you know me well enough to know I'm at a point in my career where I don't need to finagle anyone to do a project. It usually doesn't work out well. If it's a project that makes sense, I'm happy to jump on board and help. But if it's not worth putting trying to force a square peg in a round hole. There's a lot of people out there that can help do a lot of different things. But my focus is largely, in the consumer product space, and that's a pretty broad territory.
It is, and that's our sweet spot too. If somebody comes to me with a new windmill, I'm going to send them someplace else. The electric engines, the same way. I'm going to send them someplace else.
Likewise.
And yet we can do anything from fishing poles to diapers. And
I've done everything from fishing poles to diapers.
I'm sure you have. Well, we will continue to send inventors your way when they need those proof of concept prototypes done. And you hang in there. And it is really great to be able to take your products with us to ASD.
Yeah, and I'm excited to tell people about the show as well. And I keep trying to send people your way. And some of them are far enough along where it makes sense. And even the ones that aren't, I think they should go to the show just to check it out so they can be ready for next year's show. I think that's valuable as well.
Absolutely. So anyway, thank you so much. And everybody out there, if you've got a product you're working on and you need a prototype done, Noah McNeely with Product Quick Start, that's where you go. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.